Welcome to Aftermath Digital TV. Caroline here with Jimmy Corderas and Nug. Anthony couldn't join us today, but we have our wins and fails ready for you from the past week. Everything that is WWE. Nug, you're going to start us off with your win, and I'm excited for it because it's very, very similar to mine. Go.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the women's tag team triple threat match for the tag team titles. It's been a long time since the titles have felt important, and this match had three teams that really want the titles, which makes the titles seem more important. Plus, it was a really good match, and that rare instance of a triple threat match where it mattered that there were three people in the ring. It wasn't that weird, oh, I'm going to tag in my partner and pin our own team to win. Everybody was competing. The Iconics looked good. Nikki and Alexa looked good. And most importantly, Sasha and Bayley looked good where they haven't looked good for a long time. Plus now, Bayley seems to be really getting into her jerk character, and calling herself Bayley Dose Straps is something I'm on board with. I like everything going forward. The Iconics still have a beef with them. If you want to have Nikki and Alexa have a beef with them, go ahead. Sasha and Bayley get to go to NXT and defend the titles against Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart, which honestly, that could be an upset, and we could see Tegan and Shotzi start defending those titles all over the place. There is a importance on the women's tag team division right now, and I love it.
I couldn't agree more, because I'm not going to get into my fail just yet. But see, like you said, Nugster, the tag team titles feel important, and bravo to the return of the Iconics. They have been an injection of life into the women's tag team division. They've been completely awesome. And like we've said for the last 2 weeks now, we've been feeling Bayley, kind of like Seth Rollins, is finding her place in this role that she's accepted as being a total jerk. And I'm invested, and that's what it's all about, getting invested in the characters, getting invested in the story being told. There's seeds planted are all over the place, so it is a division now that looks like it can grow. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it spreads a little bit.
No, you know what? I totally agree with everything you guys said, and my win is that the triple threat match in the women's tag team division at Backlash makes me optimistic for the future, where before we would always say, where is it going? You know, like, why aren't we seeing more of the tag team division in terms of the women's side? And I watched, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, the Iconics, Sasha and Bayley, and I was like, this entire match from start to finish is fun. I think Alexa Bliss, she was the smallest one, but the most powerful. Her and Peyton Royce, to me, really stood out. And I just got excited about the tag team picture. And I can't say I've always felt that way, but that match in particular, I was a little nervous going into it because I'm like, okay, a triple threat match between tag teams, that's a lot of people, a lot of things going on. But I was very, very impressed with all of the female superstars. I think they all did a solid job. And it really makes me look forward to what's next. And Jimmy, I agree with you. I said it on a previous stream. The Iconics really do know how to inject not only personality into wherever they go, but I feel like I don't want to take my eyes off of them. And I think that they're hilarious and super, super talented on the mic, especially because that's when I'm really drawn to them. And of course, their in-ring ability as well.
I also think there's a missed opportunity. Every time the Iconics pull off their finisher, one of the announcers calls, I don't know if they've named it this, but they call it with a fall from grace, or like, it sounds like they're calling it a fall from grace. But I think they've really missed an opportunity with their opponent's face hitting the mat like that. It should be called eye contact.
I mean, Nug, why you're not a writer for WWE's been
I can come up with dumb puns all day. Let's go.
Or bad Corderas jokes, yes.
There you go.
I love it. Jimmy, your win has to deal with the greatest match ever, which really did happen to almost be one of, I mean, not the greatest match ever, but up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing. I know a lot of people were disappointed that this was the promotion of the match, and the fact that they were promoting it as the greatest wrestling match ever. And leading into the match, expectations definitely were high for this match, especially for me because of the superstars involved. I wasn't expecting the greatest wrestling match ever. I know that was just a promotional title for the match itself. That being said, I thought the guys over-delivered in this match. I was expecting a good match from these guys because I know what they are capable of. But Randy Orton and Edge pulled out what I would consider right now match of the year so far. Would I call it the greatest match ever? look, it's all a subjective thing anyways. Greatest match ever. Is it the greatest technical match ever? Is it the greatest entertainment match ever? It doesn't matter. They pulled off something that over delivered in my opinion anyways, and people could sit there and nitpick, well, it wasn't the greatest match. It doesn't matter. It was awesome. It was tremendous. The guys deliver. Bravo. Sorry, Edge, you got that torn tricep, which I couldn't detect where it happened, but hats off to you for finishing the match as well. But on a side note, is Randy Orton just in a zone right now? I mean,
he is now, especially after Monday Night Raw. He is all of a sudden within, I'm going to say 2 months, and I mean it, in the last 2 months, Randy Orton's gone from, Randy Orton, get out of here, to he's the worst / best person on the show. He's the absolute worst. Everybody hates Randy Orton.
We're all sharing the same mind right now, because that's how I felt. I've always liked Randy Orton, but he was almost more like a background guy, like I wasn't affected if he came onto the show or if he didn't come onto the show. Now I'm like, give me all the Randy Orton in the world. And on Monday night with the segment with Christian, I was like, this is so good. He's so believable. He, like, how everyone calls him a psychopath. Like, I love that. And he's just like on a tear right now. I think he's incredible. And Jimmy, I totally agree with your win as well. I thought it was an outstanding match between Edge and
yeah. And going back to Randy Orton, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but when Randy, I've said it before, Randy is naturally gifted. Not only as far as technical ability in the ring, he's naturally gifted on the microphone. The guy just has it, and everybody saw that from day one in him. They just wanted to see it come out, and it almost feels like a motivated Randy Orton, for lack of a better term. Watch out, because there is I think we're on the precipice of some of his greatest work, and that's saying a lot.
And I want to talk about the elephant that was dubbed into the room on that match. The sound. I didn't mind the classic announcements with the MSG and the ghost of Howard Finkel announcing the match. I did not have a problem with that. The video game style camera shots, like up into them locking up, was odd. It kind of took me out of it a little bit. And the sound of a larger crowd being dubbed in over the crowd there that was not making any noise made me think, oh, they're doing this because that crowd wasn't making noise. If you're an NXT superstar or a up-and-coming NXT superstar and you're in that crowd, I am noticing people tuning out. I'm noticing people yawning or fixing their hair or studying the match and not reacting, just like, oh, wow, like they're super into it, and that's great. But the other thing I'm noticing is called spiking the camera. And here's how it works in the world of film. I'm watching something, and then I see the red light come on the camera beside me, and I do this. That's spiking the camera. And I'm going to say 10 out of 10 guys that they put the camera on in that crowd spike the camera. You're in the crowd. Don't look at the camera. You're supposed to be watching a wrestling match. A lot of different things kind of took me out of that match. But then I muted the whole thing and watched it back, and it was a wonderful match.
Yeah, I get the point of it. I didn't like the fact that Byron Saxton before the match announced it. We're trying some different things here. Hats off to Charles Robinson with the old school blue shirt and bow tie. Gotta like that.
Wonderful.
But again, it's kind of like putting that tag, greatest wrestling match ever, on it before it goes. I ignored that stuff and just focused on the match itself. And to me, those guys were awesome.
And there's such a thing called as putting a hat on a hat. It's unnecessary. The hat was the greatest match of all time. Greatest match of all time. You didn't need to put a hat of the pomp and circumstance.
And real quick, to get this point, I get the idea, because the audience is not there. Like the paying audience is not there, and you want that crowd noise to help enhance the match. I get why it was done. It wasn't needed.
No.
Okay, you guys ready for fails?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, mine comes from Backlash. I'm going to start it off. You guys know how I feel about Asuka. I love her. Probably one of my favorite, her and Charlotte Flair, my favorite female superstars right now on the roster. Love that Nia Jax is back in the picture. The way their match ended at Backlash was so lackluster for me. I didn't love it. I felt like it was a cop out. I was almost like, wait, like I was watching. I was like, that's how this ends. I can see why it ended that way, because now we're obviously going to go down this road of an Asuka versus Nia Jax competition and feud, and we saw that again on Monday Night Raw. I just didn't love the way it ended at Backlash, and I hope going forward, we see a little bit more. I also think that Asuka's such a tremendous superstar that I don't know. I wasn't left leaving that match being like, wow, that was incredible, which is almost what I expected between two completely different female superstars in the ring at the same time. That being said, I am kind of looking forward to seeing where all this goes in the future. I understand that there's a storyline being built, but I didn't love the way that match ended, both of them being counted out outside of the ring while fighting. And I was just left like, oh, really, one of those endings? No. So that's how I felt.
I totally get that, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And to be completely honest, I didn't mind that ending, only from a standpoint that it actually, like you said, it's another layer to a story that's going to move forward. And this was an old school way of getting to that next level in the story, that next chapter to be told. It's something that's been lost a lot, and enforcing rules in professional wrestling. Oh my goodness, the referee actually counted while the talent was outside the ring. Thank you, finally. What I didn't like was, okay, we're going to continue this story on Monday night. We're going to have our rematch and hopefully come to a conclusion for this match. But then in that match, the referee played a role that he, in my opinion, shouldn't have played, because yes, I get it. I don't mind situations where the referee is involved in the finish of a match, but I don't want him to be the reason why the match ended because of a personal issue where they counted fast or something like that. They should not be the story.
Yeah,
Very
it
true.
seemed like he had personal bias, and the referees are supposed to be unbiased people.
Unless you're Kerry Fraser.
Yeah. If you push a referee, you get disqualified. The end. We've seen it happen a million times. We've seen it happen with an accidental brush of a referee, and they got disqualified because referees are made of glass. So you have to follow up on the rules, not just actually enforce the rules, but those rules have to be consistent. So if a superstar shoves a referee, they're disqualified. That's the end of the match. I didn't like Sunday because we talked, and the announcers and everybody on WWE television talks about how good of a wrestler Asuka is, just how good she is. And a count-out win does not make her look that good.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Like, I don't know, but we'll see where this goes. I didn't love it being on Monday Night Raw again after, but I get what's happening. So I'm just going to sit back and let it play out. And, I guess we'll talk about it in a month's time and see how we feel then, because we know that it's going to go on for that long. And Jimmy, I just have to ask you, can you confirm or deny if referees are made out of glass?
No, some of us are just brittle. Not necessarily made of glass, more like twigs, you
just got to be very careful around them. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Mind you, a big size 16 Undertaker boot didn't break this job, but it came.
Okay, that's true.
Jeez. All right, Jimmy, your fail.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Going back to Backlash. Okay, if you're going to advertise a match that's going to take a championship match as well, the tag team championship will be defended at Backlash. This match was added late. And okay, so you go through all this entertaining stuff, because the E in WWE stands for entertainment, and you go through all this ha-ha and gaga with the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, or the Viking Profits, or the Street Raiders, whatever they're called now.
Street Raiders was sitting right there for them, and they passed it up.
I know. And we have all these different distractions going on, and we don't get the match. And then they say, we're going to give you the match on Monday night, and we still don't get the match. I just think it's the complete opposite of what's happening with the women's tag team championships. We're getting invested. The tag team champions mean something right now. Fighting for the championship means something. We have a tag team holding the championship that doesn't defend the championship, and it's just like, why? If you're entertained by this stuff, that's fine. But why do the tag team titles need to be saddled with this Benny Hill sketch.
It's not even as good as Benny Hill, Jimmy.
It's
True.
not, go ahead, because your fail has to.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement on this, and I'm not mad that the titles weren't defended. I get that it's an entertainment thing, and I'm not mad that it was entertainment. I'm not mad that they took both of these teams and threw them into the literal garbage during that match. I'm not upset that we've had 3 pay-per-views in a row where people ended up on top of a truck. I'm not upset by any of that. Weirdly, the thing that I'm the most upset about is this 7-foot ninja. A 7-foot ninja is a terrible ninja. They're supposed to be stealthy. They're supposed to be sneaky. You're never supposed to know a ninja's coming. And this guy's 7 feet tall and carries a sword. Unnecessary. You don't need a sword if you're 7 feet tall. You're 7 feet tall. Why is this ninja terrorizing everybody? Why are they so scared of him? You know he's coming. Every time you know he's coming. A 7-foot ninja makes no sense. That's my biggest beef about the whole thing.
I could go on. I am entertained by Tozawa. I think.
Oh yes, he's very good in the ring, and this is a real interesting thing for him.
Yeah.
It's a little close to Kai and Tai for me, but it's nice to see Tozawa doing something.
Exactly. It's just that there's a lot of unknown ninjas around, and I get it. They're fodder.
Mm-hmm.
Fodder for the Raiders, Prophets, whatever. What'd you call it? Street Raiders?
Street Raiders, again, that name's sitting right there, and they went with Viking Prophets.
Yes. Anyway.
Quickly before we head off, I want to know what your guys' thoughts on Ric Flair on Monday Night Raw.
It's the nature boy. I mean, there are a lot of theories out there with what's going on, especially with Randy Orton and Ric Flair kind of tying together with his daughter Charlotte, who I'm just going to leave it at that. There's some seeds being planted, potentially planted here. Let's see if there's actually some fertilizer to this and some water being poured on it to grow.
What I'm especially interested in is, honestly, I'm very interested in Ric Flair's weird Mr. Rogers sparkly vest under his jacket. But what I am really interested in is with all the ruthless aggression era stuff that's being played on the network, and they just did the big special on Evolution. I'd like to see Randy put together a new group of guys. Like Randy was plucked by Triple H and Flair. They picked 2 young guys, him and Batista, to be part of this thing. Well, here's Flair with Randy again. Who says they can't just pluck 2 young guys and go, you're in this? I'd love to see a whole new thing.
Like a new Evolution, but with a different name.
Of course, not Evolution 2, the Reckoning or Electric Boogaloo.
How about the Street Evolution or the Viking Never mind. Sorry, bad Corderas jokes.
There's no such thing as a bad Corderas jokes. All right, everyone, let us know what your win and your fail is from Backlash from the week that was. Let us know on Twitter. And, of course, our live stream every single Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Sportsnet, Facebook, and YouTube. We'll see you there.
Ask Aftermath.
#AskAftermath.